Thank you for joining. I just thought I'd do a little bit of sound bowl to start off this live because I don't know, I'm just into it. And I thought I would have a conversation with anybody who wants to talk about waking up spiritually, share their experiences, ask questions, things like that. I think that there's a lot of talk about waking up at the moment, but people have got the idea about what waking up means incorrect. They think that it means waking up to the fact that there is, some kind of nefarious plan going on to enslave humanity. And whilst that might be true, the only way to break free of something like that is to master your own mind, because it's not what anybody else is doing to you that's the problem. It's how you're perceiving the outside world, not realizing that the outside world is a collective manifestation of everyone's thoughts, feelings, and beliefs. And when you understand that, that's what waking up really means. It's about taking responsibility for the fact that you create your own reality, good, bad, or indifferent. There's no point blaming anybody else for what's going on in your life. Waking up is understanding that you're spirit having a human experience. You're not a body, you're not your job, you're not your gender, you're not the ego personality that has been created from 0 to 7 years old. That's not actually who and what you are. And awakening is becoming aware of the true you, basically, which is connected to everyone and everything. It's connected to source. Thank you so much for the gift. I appreciate that so early in. It's connected to everyone and everything, basically. And even though spirit, God, universe, whatever, permeates everything in this world, it did not create this world, and what's creating this world is our minds. Our minds collectively is what's creating the world. Our ego minds currently is miscreating the world, I should say. And that's why we see so much destruction here. That's why we see so much sadness, so many people unhappy, not living happy lives, because they're in their ego state of consciousness, not awake to who and what they really are. Yes, I just randomly decided to do a live because I thought I was inspired to by spirit, basically. And I thought I'd just see if anybody wants to have a chat to me about anything spiritual, share their experiences about waking up, ask any questions, just see if anybody wants to engage with me, really, because I know a lot of people talk about these subjects, but I guess there's no reason why I can't talk about it too. And I didn't really prepare well for this live, but thank you. But I thought, I'll just get on and kind of wing it a little bit because, I think I have a lot of knowledge to share based on what I've been through the last 5 years. I had a Kundalini awakening at the beginning of 2020. And then obviously we went through a tough time, the whole world. Then my brother and dad died within 7 weeks of each other. So I've really gone through a lot this life. And I feel like these experiences have only made me stronger. And I feel like I can help other people who maybe are struggling with their awakening journey and things like that. It was one of the lies that have been told, but really at the end of the day, it's about forgiveness, forgiving people because they know not what they do. And even though you can use discernment to decide what's true and what's not true, you don't need to be told what's true on the mainstream media. It's about forgiving them because people believe in it, people believe in things like that, and they were in fear and they were manipulated, and it's not really about us against them anymore. Waking up is part of realizing that everyone is innocent here because they're in a state of unconsciousness. They're literally not in their right frame of mind, a lot of people. And that includes me sometimes when I'm out of alignment with spirit. So, don't hold it against people. No, I used to. I hold it against those trying to control us. I have to be honest, it's very easy for a part of your mind to say, they're doing this, they're doing that. But it's about taking control of your own mind because nobody really can control you, really. Not unless you allow them to. And as much as they try, they can't. They have to get your permission in order to do that. Oh, Whinger. Terrible troll, mate. You can't even count properly. We're talking about waking up. If this is not a conversation for you, I suggest you leave. Otherwise, I'm happy to give you the flick, one of the two. They get our permission through movies, that's acceptance. I'm not saying manipulation doesn't happen through movies and media and things like that. Of course it does. But part of waking up is taking back control of your mind without blaming anybody else. Do you know what I mean? So I'm not saying that what you're saying isn't true, but really the answers are within, looking at your own consciousness and saying, hang on a minute, what are the thoughts and feelings that I am believing in that are no longer serving me anymore? It's not really about what anybody else is doing. As much as I used to point the finger and get angry and stuff like that, I have done that content before. But I'm coming to really understand the power of our own minds. Tar and feather me, but please don't block me. Why is that? Is it because you crave attention like me? Is that the problem? Recycling souls. Hi, Aussie22. Yes, the real truth is this. Everyone chooses to come here of their own accord. Nobody is made to reincarnate. Nobody's forced to do anything. Nobody's tricked. It's our own belief in separation that brings us into the form of bodies. Because the truth is, we're not really a body. Everyone is here because they believe in separation. In some way, shape, or form, they believe that they're a body, they believe that death is real, all those kinds of things. And until we change those perceptions in our incarnation, that means you're reincarnated again. It's not anything to do with anybody else. It's always your choice, always. That's your perception of the real truth, though. None of us know absolute. I don't claim to know the truth as an individual. It's not me. It's spirit speaking the truth. And there is an ultimate truth. It's not subjective. It's not subjective at all. The truth is a truth. Some people know it and some people don't. It's not about your truth versus my truth. There is no individual truth. There is only the truth. And it doesn't come from the individual. It comes from source. It comes from God. It comes from spirit. Oh yeah, no, you're just being nasty, Winja. I'm going to block you. You're being an asshole. Okay. Now that we've got rid of that troll. Yes. So, look, I don't mean to dismiss anything that you're saying here or say that, I'm right and you're wrong. It's not about that. I'm just really speaking what I know to be true from experience, and you don't have to believe what I'm saying, because you get to decide what's true for you, and what is true for you, you will manifest, because your mind is that powerful. The system is breeding common sense out of youngsters with schooling indoctrination. That is true, yes, but we always have the opportunity to retrain our mind, and we can retrain our mind by doing things like A Course in Miracles. A Course in Miracles undoes the exact indoctrination that you are speaking about, because the school system is not designed to teach you the truth. It's not designed to tell you that you create your own reality. It's not designed to tell you that the ego is not you, that the real you is spirit having a human experience, that you're not a body, that the body is not who and what you are. It's not designed to do that. But courses like this are. And I'm not saying that it's the only path to awakening, but it's one of the paths that I have chosen, and it's something that I believe can help a lot of people. Gotta go. No worries, good to see you here. Thank you so much for the gift. I really appreciate that. It's very nice of you. Thank you, Selena. I appreciate your comments. What else can I talk about? Waking up is realizing there are two streams of information coming into your mind. So an example is this, right? I've recently started doing strength training. I've been using, it's hard to lift them today. Been using these dumbbells and just basically YouTube videos. And today I got home from seeing a friend. We went for a walk and stuff, and I was got one thought of, oh, I kind of feel like doing some cardio. And then another thought came into my mind, oh, stuff that, like, you don't need to do cardio today. Like, who cares? Just sit on the couch, just do whatever. And then another thought came to, oh no, I'm kind of inspired to do some cardio. So I went to the gym downstairs. I did 15 minutes of cardio, and it was so good because I was like, hang on a minute, this is coming from spirit. I'm inspired to do this. I'm not doing it because I feel guilty. I'm not doing it because the ego is saying, do it or you're going to be fat. You know, that's what the ego will do. That's the ego counseling you to work out. When you follow inspiration from spirit, you feel it in your heart as a sense of ease, calm, satisfaction, and joy. And I genuinely felt joy after I finished, you know. And I even worked out I can meditate on the cross trainer by closing my eyes, which is really cool because it helps the time go faster. Bad to the bone, have I done breath work? I've experimented a little bit with breath work. I don't know a lot about it. I'm actually reading this book at the moment, The Principles of Breath Work, but it was kind of boring me tonight, so I decided to do this live instead. But yeah, what I do know about breath work is, from what I'm learning from this book, is if you can just feel when you breathe, feel all the parts of your body moving from your chest to your back ribs, feel how you breathe. And a lot of people are shallow breathing, so they're only breathing through their chest, like they're not actually breathing from the diaphragm, from a full breath. I have practiced some breathing where you do the breaths like count in for 4 and out for 4, or I like to do actually longer breaths, so in for 6 or 8 and then out for 6 or 8. And I find that really helps me when I am in a state of stress or I need to return myself back to the present moment. Breathing is really helpful, but I've really only just started studying breath work and I don't know much about it, to be quite honest. I've kind of given you everything I know in that little rant there. But yeah, I would like to learn more about it. I think it's a wonderful tool. They say that the breath is the real us, right? Spirit having a human experience. Have I tried yin yoga sound healing? I have been to quite a few sound healings, sound bowls, but generally I'm just laying down on a mat, or I've sat as well, but I've never done yoga whilst doing sound healing at the same time. I'm really not very flexible or very fit. So yeah, I'm still working on that part of myself. But yeah, realizing that the body's actually manufactured by spirit. It's not manufactured from, it's a neutral object basically, and it only has the meaning that you give it. You seem to have grown as a person now. Good for you. I wish you all the best. Thank you very much, Tom. Thank you for stopping by. I appreciate your comments. Yes, I definitely have grown somewhat in the last 5 years, but yeah, I appreciate your compliment. Does anybody have a question or want to share their story about waking up or what they think waking up means? Anybody had any cool spiritual experiences? Can you hear, do you understand what I'm talking about, where there's 2 different streams of information coming in your mind, one from the ego and one from spirit? The ego is not the real you, spirit is the real you. Thank you, Chrissy Mites. Yes, I'm realizing that happiness is our natural state. It's not something that we obtain, it's something that we already are. But there are blocks to awareness of what we really are. And those blocks are basically our thoughts and beliefs that are untrue, and they are coming from the ego minds. That's what I meant before, where there is ultimately only one truth that comes from spirit, and it comes through people. It can come through me, it can come through other people. But at the end of the day, there isn't really other people. There's only aspects of the one God mind. Even though we seem to be in separate bodies, that's part of the whole illusion. Part of waking up is realizing that everything that you're seeing with your 5 senses is literally you in a waking dream. You're dreaming right now. I'm dreaming right now. Yes, we dream when we go to sleep at night. I had a really weird dream last night, but I'm also dreaming right now. I'm dreaming that there's a phone here. I'm dreaming that There's a dog here. Billy boy, he's sleeping. He's had a big day. So yeah, part of waking up is realizing that you're both the dream and the dreamer, and you have the power to really create the life that you want by following your guidance system. Because see, I used to think that like I'm losing something sometimes when you don't always have control over things. When you surrender control of your life to spirit, it'll feel like you're losing something, because the ego always wants to predict the future and wants to know exactly what's going to happen before it happens. But spirit can see things from a higher perspective. So if you can imagine, like I live in the sky, right? So I can see what's happening on the ground pretty far away from up here. But most of us in the ego mind, we're down in the battleground and we can only see a short distance. The ego mind does not know, but spirit knows all. So when you follow your guidance from spirit, its will and your will are actually the same. Your will is to be happy and have a happy dream here. Does anyone understand we are breathing what we are breathing in? Because I think it's something bigger. Well, the truth is that when you actually start to understand that you are spirit and not the body, hi Chrissy, thanks for joining, then it doesn't really matter what you're breathing in, so to speak. You're breathing in you, basically, because everything that you see is a manifestation of your thoughts, feelings, and beliefs, both individually and collectively. So yes, they can be poisoning the air or whatever, which I think is what you're getting at here, maybe, with that comment. But when you start to wake up, you can actually master the physical and material world, and those things don't actually have to affect you anymore. That's what Jesus was teaching people when he went on the cross. He didn't sacrifice himself at all. He didn't actually die at all. He manufactured a new body after that experience. He came back to his disciples and said, hey guys, guess what? Death is not real. I'm going to take Mary and we're going to go and teach in India. Thank you for joining, everybody. I really appreciate you coming to hear me speak. Yes, everything is about perspective. And getting into alignment with the truth is waking up, the true you, because spirit will never lie to you. And the way that you know that it's the truth is not necessarily by hearing the words, it's by feeling into it. You'll feel it in I feel it in my heart chakra, in this place here, but some people will feel it in their stomach as well. They'll kind of feel it in their gut, whether it's coming from spirit or it's coming from ego. What time do I usually get in live? I don't actually have a regular time at the moment. I maybe will in the future, but I just kind of do them when I'm inspired. Often it's at night time in Australia because that's when a lot of people are on. But I have been trying them during the day as well because I do have followers in America too. Anyway, what else can I talk about? Does anybody have a question, or would anybody like to do a manifestation experiment with me? I did a video on this last night. It actually comes from a well-known coach called Neville Goddard. I don't know if any of you know his work, but Neville Goddard basically taught this manifestation technique, right? So what you do is before you go to sleep tonight, you imagine yourself climbing a ladder. So imagine your hands on the rungs of the ladder, imagine your feet, imagine what the weather's like. Is it really hot like it was today? Is it cold? What's going on when you're climbing the ladder? Imagine that you're climbing that ladder and then go to sleep tonight. Then when you wake up tomorrow in the morning or at some point during the day, just say lightly to yourself, I will not climb a ladder. And then maybe even write it down. So write down, I will not climb a ladder. Do this for 3 days, and then within 1 or 2 weeks, a lot of you who do this experiment are going to find that you are randomly having to climb a ladder for some reason, right? And what happened when Neville Goddard did this with his students back in I think it was like the 60s or something like that, like a long time ago. He said, right, those of you who have come back and said that you climbed a ladder, guess what? If you can do that with a ladder, you can do that with anything. Then you can do that with $1 million. And $1 million was a lot of money in 1960s. So yeah, he was teaching people that Your imagination literally creates your own reality, and you can test it out. You can actually test it out for yourself and prove that what I'm saying is true. Not just wishy-washy, spiritual bullshit. It's actually what you can prove to be true with your own experimentation. So yeah, I thought I would just share that with anybody who wants to listen. Yes, some people are doing the ladder experiment with me. I can't remember, but at least 2 or 3 people. So yeah, I just started it last night. I've even got my piece of paper on the bench there as I go out in the morning to remind myself. And I write down I will not climb a ladder. And then tonight I've got a piece of paper beside my bed from when I put my phone down to remind myself to think about climbing a ladder tonight. So tonight will be night 2, and then tomorrow night will be night 3. And we'll see if I end up climbing a ladder. But it's actually not about the ladder. It's actually about proving to yourself that your imagination, your thoughts, feelings, and beliefs with emotion behind them is what's creating your world, literally. It's the world's not objective coming at you. The world is subjective based on everything that you believe to be true. So when people have negative things happen to them, and they get sick, for example, right? The reason why people get sick is because they want to experience that. That's one of their idols. Some people actually like being sick, believe it or not. They'll tell you that they don't want to be sick. Oh, I'm sick of being ill. Yet they're always telling you that something's wrong with them. They're literally manifesting their own sickness with their thoughts, feelings, and beliefs. Hello, Alina. Thank you so much for joining. They're a hypochondriac in their internal world, and it creates sickness in their external world. Or they are very bitter and angry. They're a jealous person. That manifests illness as well, because when negative emotion that is coming from the ego gets stuck in your body, that's what causes illness too. So it happens in a multitude of ways. But once people start to realize they're creating their own illness because it's one of their idols, it's something that they want, otherwise it wouldn't be happening to them, then they can start to create wellness as well. If you can create your own illness, then you can also create your own wellness. So that's the fun part about finding out about this stuff. It's not about victim blaming. It's not about that person created their own illness, look at them. Or, feeling hard on yourself if you do find yourself sick. What has this come to teach me? Why have I created this for myself? Those are the questions that you can start asking yourself when you're ill. But the doctors don't teach you this, the nurses don't teach you this, they don't teach you this in school. Because the medical system doesn't want you to know that you can heal your own body with your own mind, do they? Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to sell you all the pills and all that kind of stuff. So I'm not saying that they're bad, Big Pharma. They just know no better. They're in their ego state of consciousness. They're all about taking from other people, making people sick. This is an inverted world. And when the ego is in charge, that's when those sorts of things happen. So waking up is getting into alignment with who and what you really are, which is spirit. And spirit will always help you heal. Spirit will help you look at the thoughts, feelings, and beliefs that are creating your very illness that you've manifested and help you undo that. Spirit will help you heal. Thank you, Chrissy. I appreciate that. I appreciate the likes. It's very nice of you. It's a hard pill to swallow, that one, because no one wants to believe that they've created their own illness. They always want to blame an external source, whether it's a sunscreen, the plastic water bottles, the virus, whatever. They always want to blame an external source for their illness as a general rule. Or they attack themselves. They say, oh, it's my fault for eating this or eating that. It's not necessarily the physical. People always go to the physical as the cause. The physical is the effect. The cause is our own minds. How do we change the world for the better? By starting from within. So the outside world is changed by everybody going within and connecting with spirit, because spirit is what helps you create a better life for yourself and everybody else around you. The ego is miscreating the world, and the only way to make the world better is by going within and starting to dissolve the ego consciousness. Because the ego consciousness is both individual and collective. It's a collective thought form of many beliefs that have been indoctrinated not only through your lifetime, but through previous incarnations as well. And that's why people come back and reincarnate all the time, because they still have beliefs in separation that are no longer that no longer serve them. So how do you change the world? By changing your own minds. That's the only way. That's the only way. And it doesn't mean that you can't go out there and help homeless people or do some kind of good in the world by giving away your secondhand clothes or whatever, for example, or I don't know, that's just maybe a bad example, but you can still do external things when they're inspired by spirit. But what I'm saying to you is go within first, because everyone's thoughts, feelings, and beliefs are what's creating the world. And you can't do anything about what anybody else is doing. All you can control is what you do and how your inner world is. So start by listening to your thoughts and feelings. If you're having negative thoughts about the outside world, say to yourself, well, hang on a minute. The outside world is the effect, not the cause. So if I continue to believe these negative thoughts about the outside world, that's what is going to be reflected back to me. This world is a reflective place. It's a reflection of your consciousness, basically, both individually and collectively. So that was a long answer, but yeah. Do you believe that you repeat until you learn? Absolutely. Yes, I do believe that. In fact, I know that from my own life experience, not just even in this incarnation alone. You know, I've made many of the same mistakes twice, if not, half a dozen times. I used to go binge drinking every weekend and black out all the time and do all these crazy things. And you'd think that you'd only need to do that once to learn, but no, I did it for almost 20 years. So yeah, we do repeat things. How do we heal anxiety? That answer is quite complex, Margaret, but I believe that a really good tool for starting to heal anxiety is breath work and also meditation, because anxiety is coming from an overactive ego constantly worried about the future, whether it's what's happening 5 minutes from now or what's happening 2 years from now. Anxiety is caused by constantly worrying about the future. And that part of your mind that's worrying about the future is not who and what you really are. And the only way to get in touch with spirit and stop that anxiety from happening is by going within and using the breath and closing your eyes and starting to listen to the thoughts that are going on in your head as an observer and not believing those thoughts that are making you anxious. Yeah, hopefully that helps. Thank you for asking the question. I appreciate it. I don't always have the right answer, but when I'm in the flow like this and I'm allowing spirit to flow through me, the answers don't actually come from me. They come from spirit. Hello, Indigo. Thank you for joining. I'm talking about waking up, basically, all things spiritual. You've used music and movement, but same concept. Thanks so much for sharing that, Kylie, because yeah, there are many roads that lead towards the path home, back to unconditional love, back to spirit, back to who and what we really are. It's not necessarily just breathing or meditation or one method over another. It's what works for you and about finding what works for you. And if music and movements is what gets you back into alignment with spirit, then yeah, I totally agree with that. And that's why I've got my my wonderful sound bowl here. And yeah, I thought I might just play some actually. Why not? Oh, sorry, Bill, I didn't mean to startle you. Thank you, Patch Duke. I appreciate your comments. That's nice of you. Yeah, I love this sound bowl. I got it from a market in Bali, and it was almost like it chose me. Hey, and it was funny. I was in the market, and I was doing the sound bowl, and then we start hearing all the other sound bowls start going because the sales people realize, oh, hang on a minute, the sound bowl's getting people sales, so I better start doing my sound bowl too. It was really funny. I was the only one doing the sound bowl, and then suddenly hear all these other sound bowls going off. It was really funny. Yeah, never been to Bali before. Bali is actually a very spiritual place. It's helped open up my heart chakra, and yeah, really started to help me get into alignment with spirit more often. Because what I find happens is we jump in and out of alignment with spirit. We jump into the ego's thought system and out of the ego's thought system. So sometimes I've been pretty good the last week or so, but sometimes you'll see me do a video and I'll be like, oh, not enough people like me, not enough people follow me, blah, blah, blah. I think I did one the other day about when I was doing a live and then suddenly the ego started to attack me and I had to end the live because I just was not in alignment with spirit. And what that was teaching me was to get into alignment first, then take the action. Don't take the action and hope that you'll get into alignment with spirit, because the ego was actually telling me to do a live, not spirit. I didn't realize, but it's so subtle sometimes, it's kind of hard to discern whether the information that you're getting is coming from your ego or is it coming from spirit. So yeah, I was wondering what I was going to do tonight. I was reading this breathwork book that was getting boring, had a game of pinball. I'm like, oh, could I go down to the bar arcade down there and play more pinball? And then I just got, I thought, why don't you do a live? And it just felt right, it just felt right to do the live. And so I went with the feeling, I went with the inspiration, and then I took the action. So yeah. No, it's okay, Jillian. Spirit is a word that I use for your higher self, the universe, source, some call it God. But spirit is the real you, basically. I like to say that we are all spirit having a human experience. We are all aspects of God mind having a human experience. But what we get tricked to believe from a very early age is that we're the body, that we live and we die. And those things could never be further from the truth, because you were before this body and you will be long after this body. And that you is spirit, but really it's not individual. So when you pass over from this physical experience, right, you'll have a sense of oneness where you're connected to everyone and everything. And people talk about this in near-death experiences where they're around and they can feel everyone's thoughts and emotions. They can see all the pain and the trauma that someone's gone through in their life, like the nurse in the room when they're in the hospital, seeing their body and stuff like that. That's when you're connected to the true you, which is not really a separate self. See, we're led to believe that I'm me and you're you, but there is no me, there is no you. There's only aspects of the one source mind, spirit having a human experience, which is very hard to put into words, but it's a feeling. You kind of feel into that to be true. In the last 3 years, I've lost my best friend, my mum, my nan, and my pop. I'm learning about this. And I was with my mum when she died, and I believe this after what I saw and felt. Yes. It sounds like, Jillian, you've come through the awakening journey through trauma, which happens to a lot of us. And I can resonate with what you're saying, because I lost my brother in a freak accident. He got ran over by the truck in the driveway. And then my dad suicided 7 weeks later. And what happened to me with my brother is I could actually feel him the day that he died. He was telling me, I was still smoking at the time, and I remember my older brother had the task of telling my mum, and I was driving to my mum's house and I could hear my brother say, just slow down, have a cigarette, go along the waterfront. And I could actually hear him speaking to me. And that was a part of me realizing that death is not real, because I'd heard the concept before, but I'd never really experienced it. So if you're, oh, thank you so much. That's nice of you, Jillian. Thank you for coming on this live and sharing your story, because we've all been through very similar things, maybe not the same things, but trauma is what really is a catalyst for waking a lot of people up to who and what we really are. So if you like, I can recommend some books to you. This is a book called The Disappearance of the Universe. It's been really helpful for me through my awakening journey. I'm also studying A Course in Miracles at the moment, which, without sounding too churchy or too religious, this material was actually channeled from Jesus through a woman called, what's her name? Helen Schumann? I can't remember. Yeah, Dr. Helen Schumann. And this will definitely help anybody who's starting to wake up to who and what they really are and wants to be happy, basically, and wants to find a sense of peace, because a lot of people living in this world are having a terrible time. They really are. But suffering and sacrifice are not required here. In fact, they are choices that we're making every single day with every thought, and every thought that we choose to believe from the ego will cause our own suffering. Watching your videos has made me not scared of dying. I'm learning daily, healing and evolving. Thank you so much, Jelly, for saying that. I really appreciate it. What I love about doing these lives is I feel like we're all learning together, you know, because ultimately we are all one. There's no separation between us. When we really tune into it, we can feel the truth coming through each other, you know. So yeah, I'm glad that I could help you learn those lessons. And yeah, I know that when I take me out of it and let spirit come through, that's when the real magic happens, you know. There's a part of me that was in my ego when I first woke up. I had a Kundalini awakening in 2020, and I thought that I was meant to be this like speaker, and I was meant to be helping the world, when really that was me being in a spiritual ego, and I was being tricked that I was someone special, when at the end of the day we are all equal in the eyes of God, and that's the truth. So yeah, I thought I would just, I'm rambling a little bit now, but yeah, thank you for listening, everybody. There's 10 people here, which is really cool. I really appreciate that. Does anybody have a question about awakening or want to share anything they're going through? I had dreams back in 1995 that are coming true today. Wow. Yeah, it takes a while for your thoughts to turn to things sometimes. Greco, you changed a lot from a couple of years ago. Yes, I've managed to dissolve a lot of the thoughts and a lot of the beliefs that from the ego mind that were not serving me when I used to be on this platform. And I'm not the same person I was even probably 2 weeks ago, 30 days ago even. I stopped smoking weed 37 days ago, and a lot's changed since then. You could become a breathwork instructor. I went to a session and it was life-changing. Thank you for the suggestion, Jillian. It's not really in my wheelhouse. I just kind of love doing this, to be honest. As speaking, this is what I love to do. What other ways can you awaken besides trauma? It's kind of like this. Every flower blooms at their own time. So people will choose the path of awakening of their own accord, often through trauma, but not necessarily. But let's put it this way, when you're in the ego's world and you're completely in the ego's thought system, everyone's being guided by spirit, you never lose your connection. But when you're just unable to hear it because you blocked it out, you know, almost completely, then, and things are going well for you, like you're making money, you've got a job, there's nothing wrong in your life, you're not really going to wake up because you have no reason to. So I would say that really people start to wake up when the ego gets tired and weary. And often that happens through trauma, not necessarily, but it's, yeah, a lot of people are not ready until they're older to wake up, because after they've been through a divorce, they've been through a broken marriage, they've lost a business, they've gone bankrupt, something bad has happened to them, so to speak, that causes them to wake up. That's generally how it happened, most of the time. Not always, but as a general rule. Where did I get the Course in Miracles book? I just ordered it off the internet. It comes from, you actually get it from the Foundation of Inner Peace. It's a non-for-profit organization that has been entrusted with selling this book and making sure that it's not altered by anybody, because you cannot alter the Course in Miracles. It was channeled by Jesus, and it has to be done in a certain way. I was writing to self-development years ago. Now I feel like I'm back at square one again. That's okay, Margaret. I'm in the middle now, and I really like to learn again. Look, I encourage everyone who wants to learn to start doing this course. Hey, it will take you a year to do this course. There's one lesson every single day. And what you can do is not only buy the book, but you can listen to the videos by a wonderful channel called Tina Spalding, TINA SPALDING. If you go to YouTube and look for Tina Spalding, or you go to channelingjesus.com, you'll find a playlist of the Course in Miracles. And what she does is she reads out the course lesson really well, and then she also channels Jesus afterwards. So Jesus will explain what the lesson is, how you can apply it in your life. And I guarantee you that if you do this course, you will change your life for the better. I can 100% guarantee that for you, 100%. Not 99, not 89, 100% guarantee it, because I've experienced it. I did it too quickly back in 2019 and 2020. I listened to the videos constantly, and I started to deconstruct my ego consciousness, which caused, well, that, and I started meditating every day since 2017 as well. There was a few things that happened that caused my Kundalini awakening, but when it happened too quickly, all of the trauma from the past came up to the surface all at once. I didn't know how to deal with it, and I just blurted it out and went through what we call the dark night of the soul, live on Facebook. The dark night of the soul is the beginning of the death of the ego, so to speak. Even though the ego always kind of remains a part of you while you're in a physical body, what happens is it starts to realize, oh, hang on a minute, this dude's waking up. He's on to me. He's on to the fact that the you that he thought he is isn't actually who he is. And once that happens, your ego will start to react to try and take back control of your own consciousness. Is there any way of getting rid of PTSD? Yes, but I don't have a straight answer for you in terms of one solution, but it's about realizing that PTSD is caused by the ego constantly going back to the past and being traumatized in the present moment. So you can find teachers that will help you with that. I would go to somebody who is more of a spiritual healing nature, rather than necessarily a psychologist or something like that, even though I've been to a psychologist myself and she was very helpful after my brother and dad died. But I would go to someone of a spiritual nature to start looking at your thoughts, because what's happening is you're traumatizing yourself time and time and time again, over and over again, and corrupting the present moment with what's happened to you in the past. That's what PTSD is. And there is a way to stop that, but because I haven't really been through it myself, it's hard for me to answer the question, to be quite honest. But hopefully I've helped in some way. Have I heard of Carl Jung? Yes, I have heard of Carl Jung. I've studied some of his material. Carl Jung talks about all of the archetypes of the ego. So there's a shy person, there's a confident person, there's all these different types of personalities, right? But all of those personalities are not who and what you really are. And then he talks about the shadow, which is everything that the ego rejects. So let's say you were in a situation where you weren't allowed to express the emotion of anger when you were young. You might, as an adult, appear to be all calm and collected all the time, but really there's an angry being inside of you waiting to come out that has never been allowed to express itself in the shadow. So Carl Jung talks about that. And shadow work is actually discovering all of the parts of yourself that you've repressed, but at the same time, he missed the mark in not realizing that those parts of yourself, the ego part of yourself, is not actually who and what you really are. There is really only one part of yourself. It's love. It's unconditional love. And all of those other things that Carl Jung talks about can really be described in one word: fear. False evidence appearing real, because that's what's happening for everyone. Everyone believes, well, most people, they believe in the world that they see because it looks so real. We can hear it, we can smell it, we can taste it, we can touch it. It seems so real, but we don't actually understand that it's all an individual and a collective dream. And I don't know whether Carl Jung really understood that. I probably haven't studied his material enough to comment, and I don't want to sound like I'm judging him. He's been very helpful to a lot of people. But I believe people like him missed the mark in some ways. He didn't really quite understand the full picture. We believe what we want. Yeah, absolutely. We do believe what we want, but those beliefs are so powerful that they become true for us. So if people believe that the world is evil and that everyone's bad, then they will experience everybody else as being evil and bad, and they'll say, see, I knew it was true, look what that person did to me, not realizing that it's their very beliefs that are creating the behavior from other people being reflected back at them. If they start saying, well, you know what, how about I look at the good in people? How about I start changing that belief? Because guess what? As Abraham Hicks says, a belief is just a thought you keep thinking. You don't have to believe every thought that comes to your mind. Oh, the world is evil, everyone's evil. A lot of people say that. It's not true, but it will become true for them because that belief with emotion behind it, the emotion mixed with the belief is what manifests out there in the world. In seemingly outside experiences, external experiences, other people, all a reflection of people's internal world. The only way to change your individual and collective reality is by going within your own mind and paying attention to the thoughts that you are believing to be true and questioning those beliefs and saying, hang on a minute, if this thought is making me feel bad, is it true? And the answer is no. Another thought will come through from spirit, which is the truth, to replace that thought that has made you feel bad, and it will feel good. How do you know the truth? By using your own guidance system. If it feels calm, it feels peaceful, it feels joyful, it feels like gratitude, appreciation, all of those thoughts are true. If it feels pessimistic, if it feels boring, if it feels negative, anything like that, it's coming from the ego's thought system and it's not true. It's just not. So yeah, the only way to know the truth is by going inside and listening to your thoughts, feelings, and beliefs, and paying attention to how they make you feel in your body, basically. Yeah, that's what A Course in Miracles teaches. It teaches you to start to discern the difference between when spirit is talking to you, God, all that is, your higher self, universe, whatever, and when the ego is talking to you. So the lesson that I was doing today, for example, is I will step back and let him lead the way. One thing I will say about A Course in Miracles is it was written at a time where, there's a lot of patriarchy and stuff like that. So the word he is used a lot, or him is used a lot, but you could change the word to her as well if you wanted to. But what's really important is to understand the lesson from this point of view, right? What it's saying is, there is a way of living in the world that is not here, although it seems to be. You do not change appearance, though you smile more frequently. Your forehead is serene, your eyes are quiet, and the ones who walk in the world as you do recognize their own. Yet those who have not yet perceived the way will recognize you also and believe that you are like them as you were before. So what this is saying is that when you start to wake up and you realize that the whole world's an illusion, you're still in a body, you're still in a form of separation, but people will start to say to you, oh, hey, there's something different about you. You look happier, you look more peaceful. It's because you're starting to be in the world, but not of the world. So you're not stuck in the looking at what's happening on the outside and getting upset or reacting all the time. You're starting to really pay attention what's going on inside your own mind and realizing that that is the cause and the outside world is the effect. This is an inverted world. People teach you that the outside world is the cause and your thoughts and feelings have nothing to do with it. Well, that is just simply not true. And A Course in Miracles helps you understand what is true by telling you to go within. And then you'll start to realize, hang on a minute, I was thinking about all this negative stuff and then something bad happened. Oh wait, I was thinking about all this positive stuff and then something good happened. Even though there is no good or bad, it's just how you're perceiving it. But you will start to realize through practicing the lessons in this course that you are creating everything that's happening to you. You're creating your body right now, or miscreating your body. When you start to wake up, your body will feel lighter, you'll feel healthier, you'll feel inspired to maybe change your diet perhaps, or you will still be inspired to do physical things that people will be like, oh yeah, well, this guy thinks it's all happening in his own mind, but he's changed his whole lifestyle and changed his whole diet and started exercising and thinks that it's magic. But it is and it isn't. It's a paradox, right? And it's hard to wrap your ego mind around, but day by day, little by little, you start to really understand and embody the concepts of what I'm saying here, that your inner world is literally creating your outer world. Hello, Claudia. Thank you so much for joining. I thought I would randomly do a live about waking up spiritually. And people have been asking questions. They've been sharing their experiences. So yeah, if you'd like to share anything or ask a question, that would be cool. If not, I might just do a little bit of sound bowl, have a drink of water until I can get on to my next monologue here. I'm still practicing this myself, to be honest. I haven't done a lot of lives. I'm probably not as seasoned at this work as some other people who you might watch, but I'm getting better and better. And I guess that's why more people here are staying and watching and engaging with me, so I appreciate that. But yeah, what can I talk about now? I might just do a bit of sound bowl until I think about something. What blood type am I, if you don't mind asking? I don't know, to be honest. I actually don't know my blood type. Can I ask why you're asking that question? Delhi, can I ask why that question came to your minds? You don't have to tell me, just say, oh, I don't know, I don't want to talk about it or whatever, but yeah. I'm curious as to why you've asked me that question, to be honest. I have great energy, you feel relaxed. I feel relaxed listening to you speak. Sense. Oh, thank you, that's very nice of you to say. What I realized is that when I put the ego mind aside, it's actually me allowing spirit to speak through me. So I can't take all the credit. I don't do anything alone. I'm actually allowing spirit to speak. It's not really coming from me. But I appreciate your compliment. That's very nice of you. Oh, Jill, I'm negative and I felt different all my life. I'm wondering if that's a thing. I'm gonna say no, and the reason for that is because what's happening is you're going to the physical to say this is why I'm different, right? But really, we are all the same in a sense. Like, we're all spirit having a human experience, but we separate ourselves into different blood types, different genders, different sexualities, different religions, all of that type of stuff. It's really a form of separation that you're feeling, and you're saying it's my blood type, but really you're not separate from anybody else who has a different blood type from you. It just appears that way. So yeah, I even said, yeah, because I'm so different from other people in the belief document that I'm working on with I have a coach at the moment that I'm working with, and what she's helping me do is look at the unconscious beliefs that I have not been able to see for myself yet. No worries, Delhi. I appreciate you saying that. Anytime you're going to the physical, just reverse that and come back into your mind and say, hang on a minute. That's something that's is not quite right, because yeah, we always go to the physical first, but it's actually the mind. You go to the mind first and then go to the physical second. I'm not saying that the physical doesn't matter. It does. We are spirit having a physical human experience, but the mind is where it's at. Anybody in business, anybody who builds a business from scratch will tell you it was their mind that they had to master first before anything physical happened in their business. It really is quite amazing when you look at your mind as the creator of everything that's happening in your life, the whole game changes. The whole game. So yeah, hopefully that's helpful. Anybody who's just joined, we are talking about waking up more from a spiritual perspective, waking up to who and what we really are, that we're not a body, when we don't live and die. There is no such thing as death. Death is simply a belief that's not actually true. And the reason why we keep reincarnating, a lot of us, is simply because we believe in the death and rebirth process. But being born into a physical body is all just part of the dream. Because when you pass over from this physical realm, you go into like what's called, let's call it like the fourth dimension, right? The astral realm, and you'll have guides and teachers up there and things like that who are on a similar frequency to you, right? And then you will reincarnate. If you still believe in death and rebirth, you will reincarnate, and then you will plan your life. So you plan a lot of your incarnation. And actually what's happening is your incarnations are all happening at the same time. It seems like there's a past, there's a future, and there's a present, but there really is only the present. There's only ever the eternal now manifesting as the seeming past or future. So it's kind of, it's a bit of a mind fuck, to be honest, but sorry for swearing. But what will get you to understand the concepts that I'm saying and start to really experience them for yourself is by doing things like this Course in Miracles. And I'm not saying all the answers are in this book. You know, there are many ways to wake up, but it's about self-inquiry. It's always about going within first and looking at what's happening in your own minds. Because when you do that, that's when you start to awaken to who and what you really are. Does anybody have a question about that ramble that I've just gone on about, or any other questions or comments? Something I can bounce off here? Otherwise, I might even continue reading this lesson because it's a really cool one, actually. Actually, yeah, I'm gonna start reading. I'm gonna read the next paragraph of this lesson, if you don't mind. The world is an illusion. Those who choose to come to it are seeking a place where there can be illusions and avoid their own reality. Yet when they find their own reality is even here, then they step back and let it lead the way. What other choice is really theirs to make? To let illusions walk ahead of truth is madness, but to let illusions sink behind the truth and to let the truth stand forth as what it is merely sanity. So what this is actually saying to you is that the world's an illusion, but when you believe in the illusions by going to the physical and stuff like that, then the illusions are getting ahead of the truth. The truth is you are creating the world from the inside out. Your internal world's creating the external world, not the other way around. Yes, Greco, I have heard of the Eckhart Tolle books. I've got both of them in my cabinet down there. Eckhart Tolle was someone that did help me start to wake up. But Eckhart Tolle does not tell you about the whole world being an illusion. He just kind of tells you about the ego and about being aware and being present, being in the present moment. But there's a lot of stuff that's missing from Eckhart Tolle's teachings, and whether that's on purpose, it doesn't really matter. But yes, I have heard of Eckhart Tolle's books, and they're a good start. They're a good start, but they'll only get you a certain part of the way. I would recommend this book, or even this book over the Eckhart Tolle book. In fact, I don't even talk about the Eckhart Tolle books. I would have once, but they're not real. There's so much missing from them. This is one of the best books you could ever read about spirituality. The Disappearance of the Universe. Straight talk about illusions, past lives, religion, sex, politics, and the miracles of forgiveness. It'll teach you everything Eckhart Tolle can teach you, plus a shitload more. A shitload more. And stuff that will just literally blow your mind. So yeah, I'm not knocking Eckhart Tolle, but yeah, I've heard of him, and I don't really talk about him too much because he only gets you a certain part of the way. And I think that's on purpose, to be honest. But I won't go there. as soon as you start to judge another person as good or bad, you're in the ego's thought system, and I dipped into it then by saying that about Eckhart Tolle. So, yeah. Yeah. He is only about the present, but he doesn't really teach you what that really means and how to really apply it in your life. And he gets people addicted to listening to him talk all the time without really going. He doesn't teach people really how to go within. He kind of gets people addicted to him. And yeah, I listen to his videos a lot. And yeah, it's just, look, I'm sure he is maybe a path to help people, a lot of people awaken, but I think he only gets people part of the way there, which a lot of teachers do. It's really an inside job that no one can wake you up but spirit. Another person can't really do it for you. Not me, not Eckhart Tolle, not Wayne Dyer, not Joe Dispenza, not any of the spiritual teachers out there. They can only get you part of the way, all of them, really. I find it hard to read books, Tim. I'd honestly listen to you all night. Can you do podcasts? Yes, I would do a podcast. I started one back in 2023, but I didn't continue with it, to be honest. It just wasn't the right time. But yeah, I could definitely see myself doing a podcast in the future, having guests on and talking about this kind of stuff, because I think that it does work better when there's a two-way conversation rather than just people commenting and stuff like that. But I'm just happy doing this for now. But yeah, I definitely would like to do a podcast. And look, I haven't, to go back to what Greco is saying here, basic view, I haven't looked at Eckhart Tolle's material for quite some time. So maybe I should read one of his books again and just see how it resonates with me these days. Might be a good exercise for me, actually. So thank you for mentioning him. I appreciate it. Rather than dismissing what people say, sometimes they're showing you something that you need to see, and it's easy for your mind to reject it. So thank you for reminding me of that, Greco. What's going on? Oh. Hello, is everyone still here? It said it was detecting inactivity on my live. And was going to shut me down, but I'm still here. Anyway, does anybody have any questions about awakening? Does anybody want to share their journey? What do I think about 1984? I was born in 1984. I think it's a great year. A great year to be born, actually. It's on the cusp of Gen X, but I am technically a millennial. But no, I know you're talking about the book 1984. That stuff will manifest if too many people believe in it, but it will manifest for a certain amount of the population. Like, it doesn't have to manifest for you, Greco. So don't get too stuck in that material, because even though you can see a lot of it happening with the digital ID and stuff like that, always know that one who's in alignment with spirit, with God, with source, with the universe is more powerful than millions who are not, and you don't have to worry about that kind of stuff. You really don't. I used to look at it all the time and be like, and try to, and have to get people to fight it and stuff like that. You don't have to fight anything like that at all. You can see it happening and you can use discernment to make better choices, and you can be aware of it, but don't live your life by it, because there's a lot of people living their life by 1984 and stuff like that, and claiming to be awake, but they're anything but. They're just in the battleground of the ego, fighting, resisting, not realizing that what they resist will persist, and they will create the very thing that they are fearful of. So yeah, you're way past that. I'm glad, Greco, because I'm way past that too. Maybe that's the evolution that you were speaking about earlier when you said that I've changed a lot as a person. Thank you for joining, everybody. Thank you for joining. Brenda, does anybody have a question? I like answering questions, but not everybody has questions or feels like I can be someone that could answer them. That's okay as well. Have I still got my sense of humor? Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Jelly. I really appreciate it. I'm probably not going to stay on too much longer myself, I don't think, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. Yeah. To answer your question, Greco, I think I'm hilarious. So other people may not agree, but who gives a fuck what they think? No, not really true. No, well, yes and no. I know I'm funny, and that's all that matters. Does anybody want to hear more sound bowl? I am actually a certified sound healing practitioner now. I got my degree from the University of Delusion. Yeah. 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 There's no degree for what I can teach people. Absolutely none whatsoever. In fact, if I ever put a certificate of enlightenment up on my wall, you need to unfollow me immediately because, yeah, anybody who's claiming to be enlightened while they're still in a physical body or still need to be, unless you can manufacture a new body like Jesus did, or you managed to master the physical material world where you can come in and out of your body at will and stuff like that, and you can manufacture a new one, you're not enlightened, which includes me. So yeah, we are all on the path towards enlightenment, but I don't know if it'll happen this incarnation or not. I'm hoping so, but it'll be up to spirit, not my little ego mind. Does anybody want to ask a question? I used to get very upset about different subjects, and sometimes that was funny. Yes, look, people often find it funny when I get angry and upset about things, and a lot of people used to try and trigger me just so that they could laugh at me. But I don't allow that to happen anymore because I've mastered more of my own mind by being in alignment with spirit. And when you're in alignment with spirit, you don't get upset about subjects in the battleground of the 3D world anymore. Your mind does not work that way. It's changed. Your spirit doesn't get upset about stuff like that. Sometimes my ego still gets triggered, and if people know me well enough, then I'm sure they can push those buttons. But I generally don't have people like that in my life anymore either. And I don't get that sort of commentary or content on my videos because I'm on a different frequency now. And when you're on a frequency, people that match your frequency will come to you. And when you're on a lower frequency, people who match that frequency will come to you. If you look at my story, I think that me working out and listening to the ego over spirit was quite funny. But I laugh at myself all the time. There's another video I did about trying to do a method about breath work from this book. It was a few days ago, but I thought that was pretty funny because I could only... Anyway, you can't make up humor. It just happens naturally. But if I'm not funny enough for you, then I guess that's something that you'll have to work on. Because I can't change myself for you, unfortunately. Well, no, fortunately, actually. Anyway, I'm thinking about leaving now. Unless anybody else has a question or anything like that. But I was inspired to do this live, and I'm really happy with it, actually. I feel like I'm living my life's purpose when I do stuff like this. Does anybody have a question or want to make any more comments? Thank you so much, Alina. You supported a couple of I'm not sure I'm pronouncing your name properly, but you've supported a lot of my lives, and thank you very much. I don't disagree with you about much. I'm not asking you to change. I just liked your humor. Thank you. I appreciate you saying that. And yeah, I do still have a sense of humor. It just comes out in other ways, I guess. I think my story is still up about me telling the government to fuck off because I'm not voting. So you might like that one. But I don't know how you see people's stories. I do stories sometimes on here when I don't think that the video is really worth leaving on forever. It's just kind of what's happening in my present moment. But yeah, I wrote a letter to the government last night and told them to fuck off. But although the Electoral Commission, because they're trying to fine me $20 for not voting, and if they think I'm gonna pay, well, yeah, this is my fucking payment, all right? Anyway, thank you, Shane, for joining. But I'm gonna leave now, I think, because yeah, I think it's time to go. But sorry for anybody who's just joined, but I'm going now. I've been on here for just over an hour, I think. So yeah, thank you very much, everybody. I'm gonna go now unless anybody has anything really pertinent that they want to say or something that they want to ask. Good night. Thank you very much. I'll talk to you all again some other time. And thank you so much for doing all the likes too. I really appreciate it. I think you helped me get more viewers. So I really appreciate that. Bye-bye.